To find the roots when they don't give you a root, you could start by finding the possibilities and listing all of those, which is the P over Q. But in this problem, since there are 4 terms, I would first check to see if you can factor by grouping. So split it. And then you can take out an x squared, you'd have x minus 4. You can take out a negative 9, and you would have x minus 4. So you can factor by grouping, so that's much easier than doing P over Q and guessing. So jump into factoring by grouping. X minus 4 is one of our factors. And then x squared minus 9 is the other factor. So our roots are x equals positive 4. And then solving this out, you get x equals plus or minus 3. 3 roots for the degree 3. It's all good. Find all the roots. They don't give you anything to start with, but it's only an x squared. So it's either factorable or we do quadratic formula. I don't think it's factorable, so let's do quadratic formula. Negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4 times a times c, that's 4 times 15 is 60, all over 2a, which is 6. Square root of negative 11, you should change that to be imaginary. Square root of 11 all over 6, and there's our 2 roots. So here's a problem where they don't give us any roots, and we cannot factor by grouping because there's 5 terms. So the only way to begin is by checking P over Q. P, Q. That's 4 over 1, and it's actually all the factors. So all the factors of 4 are 1, 2, or 4 over 1. Our possibilities are plus or minus 1 over 1, plus or minus 2 over 1, or plus or minus 4 over 1. So there's our possibilities. And then you just guess and see what works with synthetic division. We're not missing any powers, so we don't need any zeros in our synthetic division. And I'll just start with positive 1. So that's 1, 3, 0, not 0. So positive 1 didn't work. Let's try negative 1. And negative 1 worked. So we got a remainder of 0, so it works. Now we're left with 4 terms. The degree would drop by 1, so that'll be x cubed, x squared, x and our constant. And now since there's 4 terms, now you can try factoring by grouping. So split it and factor by grouping. You can take out an x squared. You can take out a negative 4. Grouping works because we have x plus 1 in both spots. And x squared minus 4 for the rest of it. And don't forget that negative 1 also worked for one of our roots. So here we get the rest of our roots. X equals negative 1 and x squared equals 4, so x equals plus or minus 2. So we do have 4 roots. We have negative 1, -1, and plus or minus 2. -1 with a multiplicity of 2.